Hello, in this video I'm going to start with chapter number 3, Plant Kingdom. In some literature, Plant Kingdom is discussed under the title Kingdom Plantae. Both the term Plant Kingdom and Kingdom Plantae are the same. In this video we'll be mainly focusing our discussion about plants in general. So you know that plants are existing everywhere around you. Some plants are aquatic plants, some are terrestrial plants growing in different terrestrial habitats. Now, with reference to plant kingdom, what I would like to say is, being biology a visual science, you need to observe your surrounding. Only after your observation, thorough observation and reading through the literature and analyzing those literature plus your observation of nature will make you a good biologist. So anyhow, plant kingdom includes diverse plants existing everywhere on this planet Earth. Plants are usually immobile. They can't move from one place to another. As you can see here in this picture, you can see trees growing at one place. They can't move from one place to another. And you know that plants are multicellular, or plants are usually multicellular. We do have unicellular plants. So plants are multicellular for being their body is made up of many cells. And plants are possessing, or they contain, or their body is made up of eukaryotic cells. Hence we can say that plants are eukaryotes. Now what is eukaryotic cell? Plants are containing eukaryotic cell, and what exactly is eukaryotic cell? Now as you can see here, the plant cell is occupied mainly by a large vacuole at the center, and at corner we have nucleus of plant cell. So nucleus of plant cell, as you can see here, it is membrane bound, nuclear membrane with tiny nuclear pores present in it surrounds the nucleoplasm, and within the nucleoplasm we have genetic material, which here is represented as chromatin, thin thread-like structure. When the cell is about to divide, then we are able to see these tiny thin thread-like structure called chromatin in the form of chromosomes. And at the center, we are able to see a dark region, and this dark region is nucleolus. Now, this nucleus which is present in plant cell is well defined, well separated from cytoplasm. So plant cell is containing a well organized nucleus which is demarcated or separated from cytoplasm with a membrane called nuclear membrane. So that's why plant cell is having eukaryotic nucleus. Eukaryotic here refers to true nucleus. Eu refers to true, karyotic refers to nucleus. So the nucleus which is present within the plant cell is well defined or true nucleus, where the genetic material is not within the cytoplasm. It is separated from the cytoplasm by well-defined membrane called nuclear membrane. And along with that we have many cell organelles within the plant cell which are membrane bound. Hence plant cell is eukaryotic cell, and we can say that plants are eukaryotes. As you can see in the cell of plant cell is cell walled, having cell wall make the plant cell rigid, having proper shape. Along with that, plant cells are also having chloroplasts, the main cell organelle which is responsible for photosynthesis. Photosynthesis in plants occur mainly because of chloroplasts. And within the chloroplast, we have chlorophyll pigments which are present in the membrane of thylakoids, which makes chloroplasts to absorb sunlight, and hence they are able to perform photosynthesis. So what we have discussed so far is that plant kingdom includes different plants. Plants are usually immobile and multicellular, and these cells are eukaryotic cell. And prominent characteristic of plant cell is that unlike animal cell, plant cell is surrounded or protected by cell wall, and chloroplast is present within the plant cell, which makes them able to photosynthesize, and hence they are called as autotrophs, right? Now, what are the basis of classification of plants into diverse divisions? What are the bases? The term basis here is plural form of BASIS, basis. So basis of classification of plants into different divisions or group are on the basis of either body differentiation, whether the plant body is well specialized into different parts or not, well differentiated into different parts or not. We know that some plants are unicellular. Earlier, scientists categorized algae under plant kingdom. So algae, as you can see here in this river stream, there is algal bloom, and if you take a drop of water of this river water, then you may, and if you observe under microscope, then you may observe tiny microscopic structures, and these are algae. So algae are unicellular. Some algae are unicellular, and algae are microscopic and unicellular. And on the other hand, the plants which are growing near to it are far larger, and we can observe them. They are very distinct, right? And we do have large plants. So plants can be microscopic and having simple body organization, or on the other hand, we have complex plants having huge body made up of many cells. Trillions of cells are making up large plants. So on the basis of differentiation of body, whether the plant body is differentiated or having cellular level organization or tissue level organization or organ system level of organization. So on the basis of body differentiation, we classify plants. We also look for whether the plants are having vascular tissue or not. Vascular tissue here refers to conducting tissues, or whether the plant is having vascular bundles or not. So vascular tissue can be, the term vascular here refers to vessel. Vessel in plants can be phloem. Phloem is mainly for random transportation of food in the form of sucrose. And on the other hand, we also have xylem, which is composed of tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma, xylem fiber, as you have studied in your lower class. Xylem is responsible for unidirectional transportation of water, minerals, and hormones, and some dissolved organic substances. So whether the plant is having these two permanent complex tissues or not. So on the basis of presence of vascular tissue, we classify plants into different divisions. We also look for whether the plant is producing seeds or not. When the plant is producing seeds, seeds may be naked seed, which is not enclosed by fruit, or seeds may be enclosed within the fruit. So on these different bases, we classify plants into different divisions. The first basis on which plants are classified is body differentiation, whether the plants are complex or simple. Second basis for classification of plants is whether the plants are having phloem and xylem or not. And some plants do produce seeds, some are not producing seeds. On the basis of that, we also classify plants. And the seeds produced may be naked or enclosed or surrounded by fruit. Say in case of apple fruit, we are eating the apple pulp, but the seeds are present within the apple fruit. So hence, on these different characteristics, we classify plants into different groups or divisions. So what are the divisions of plant kingdom? We have 5 main divisions of plant kingdom. The first one is algae, that is Thallophyta, the simplest form of plant kingdom. Then we have bryophytes, which includes Marchantia and mosses. Third one is pteridophytes. Pteridophytes are considered to be the oldest plants. We usually consider algae and bryophytes as simple plants, and pteridophytes are considered to be the oldest plants. So pteridophytes includes horsetail and ferns. We also have gymnosperms, non-flowering plants, which include pine trees. So gymnosperms are non-flowering plants. And the 5th division of plant kingdom is angiosperms. Angiosperms are flowering plants. So you need to remember these 5 different divisions of plant kingdom. We'll discuss in detail about each of these divisions one by one in another videos. Now, how plants are able to feed themselves? What are the different modes of nutrition in plants? Plants are not only photosynthetic autotrophic, they also follow heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So we have photosynthetic autotrophic plants and heterotrophic plants. In case of photosynthetic autotrophic plants, they are able to synthesize their own food. That's why the term auto refers to self, and trophic here refers to feeding. So self-feeding plants are known as photosynthetic autotrophic plants. Mainly they feed themselves with the process of photosynthesis. And in photosynthesis, plants are using sunlight energy. That's why photo. Synthetic here refers to combination or formation. So photosynthetic autotrophic plants synthesize their own food. On the other hand, hetero refers to different. Trophic means feeding. So heterotrophic plants are having different modes of nutrition and they can't synthesize their own food. Then how they are going to get their nutrition? Heterotrophic plants can be insectivorous plants. Insectivorous here refers to they feed on insects. So plants feeding on insects are known as insectivorous plants. For example, we have bladderwort. Bladderworts are growing in water body. So they are aquatic plants, and in the root system of bladderwort, you may observe a bladder-like structure, tiny bulbous structure, which helps in feeding of insects. We also have Venous Fly Trap, which also traps insects to get energy, proteinaceous energy. So Venous Fly Traps are having 2 flappy tissue or organ which can close and open. Once it is opening, then if insects come inside the chamber, then they certainly close the flap, and in a way they used to get nutrition. We also have pitcher plant. Pitcher plant are having pitcher-like shape. Pitcher here refers to jug. So jug-like shape of pitcher plant usually allows the insects to enter inside. In order to insects usually live nectar or pollen. Once they enter inside the pitcher-like structure of pitcher plant, certainly there is closure of lid of the pitcher plant, and in a way the pitcher plant will be getting nutrition after the digestion of insects with the help of strong enzymes. Now, we also have parasitic plants. For example, we have Cuscuta, which you have studied in your lower classes. You may be remembering Cuscuta usually grow on higher plants which are having branches, dense branches. So Cuscuta usually climbs on host plant, which are a higher plant, and as they climb, they started propagating, they started reproducing their parts. Hence, they are also called as climbers. Now, with this slide, what we have studied is different modes of nutrition in plants. Plants are not only photosynthetic, they also undergo heterotrophic modes of nutrition. Right? So insectivorous plants usually feed on insects, and we also have plants which are parasitic, dependent on host. So heterotrophic plants are dependent on other living organisms for food. Now, what are the different types of plants? How do we classify all different diverse plants under different groups? We have aquatic plants, say for example we have water lily, and we have hydrilla, we have lotus. Here I'm going to generalize the category on the basis of different divisions of plant kingdom. So aquatic plants, and we also have terrestrial plants. Aquatic plants can be algae, which are usually categorized under division Thallophyta. Sorry, that there is some mistake. I should Thallophyta. T is missing here, so I'm changing. So I've changed. Algae are usually categorized under division Thallophyta. Thallo refers to thallus. Mainly algae are having thallus, and they are phyta. A phyte here refers to plants. So we'll be discussing in detail about algae in another video. So algae can be chlorophyceae, which are usually green algae. We also have phaeophyceae, which are brown algae, and we have rhodophyceae, which are known as red algae, which are commonly known as red algae. Now, terrestrial plants can be plants which are without vascular bundle, without conducting tissue, or without vascular tissues. Say xylem and phloem may not be present in some terrestrial plants. We do have some plants which are having vascular bundles. Some plants are containing vascular bundle and phloem for transportation of food and water. Now, those plants which are absence of vascular bundles like xylem and phloem are bryophytes. Bryophytes can be mosses and liverworts. On the other hand, we have plants which are containing vascular bundles like xylem and phloem, which can be spore producing or seed producing. Seed producing plants are usually called as phanerogams or spermatophytes. So seed producing plants are usually categorized under spermatophyta. So we have plants which are producing seeds, which are known as phanerogams or spermatophytes. Now, what are the spore producing plants? We usually categorize ferns, horsetails under division Pteridophyta. So pteridophytes are spore producing plants. Seed producing plants can be angiosperms, which are literally or commonly called as non-flowering plants, and they usually produce seeds within the angiosperms are flowering plants, and they usually produce seeds within their fruit. So flowering plants are having seeds within their fruit. On the other hand, we have gymnosperms, which are known as non-flowering plants, and they produce seeds which are naked, not surrounded by fruit. Now, angiosperm can be categorized into monocot plants or dicot plants. In case of monocot plants, they are only having a single cotyledon, and on the other hand, dicot plants are having two cotyledons in their seeds. So, for example, in case of gram seeds, if we sow gram seeds and if we allow the gram seeds to germinate, then after germination, if we cut open the gram seeds, then you are able to find two cotyledons. Cotyledons are usually the reservoir of food. So cotyledons are food for the growing plants, and plants usually have shoot system, which is mainly arised from plumule. The first shoot or aerial part of plant is plumule, and the first root or this part which is growing into root system is radicle. So in seeds, after germination, these different parts are seen in case of dicots. So dicots are having two cotyledons. Cotyledons are food for the germinating or growing seedling, or there'll be cotyledons. We have two cotyledons in dicot plants, and these are food for growing plants. On the other hand, we have, say, for example, seed of maize. We are, even after germination, there is no two flappy structures. If you can't cut open the germinating seeds of maize or corn. So in case of dicot plant, we have two cotyledons in seeds. On the other hand, we have only single cotyledon which is supporting the growing embryo, say for example in case of maize. Hope you have understood. Now, algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes are known as cryptogams. Cryptogams are not producing seeds. Instead, they reproduce by spores, and they are not having seeds. And if they are not having seeds, then they may not be bearing flowers. So cryptogams are not producing spores. Not producing seeds, they produce spores. So this is a general discussion about diverse division of plants under plant kingdom. With reference to this, we'll be discussing in detail about all the different types of plants under kingdom planting. Now, before ending this video, I would like to give these assignment. So the first question that you need to answer is, you need to write down the general characteristics of plants. Second question asks you to discuss about the different modes of nutrition in plants. And the third question requires you to enlist 5 different divisions of plant kingdom, which we had discussed already. Fourth question is asking you to describe or distinguish how cryptogams are different from phanerogams. And the fifth question requires you to illustrate. You have to write a flowchart showing diverse types of aquatic plants and terrestrial plants, the last slide that we had discussed, right? And the sixth question asks you to mention the basis on which plants are classified. And this last question requires you to justify. That question is asking you to justify, you to give reasons that not all the plants are photosynthetic autotrophic plants. So with this, I'll stop here. Till then, take care and stay happy.